Some stories feel ancient, not just because they are old, but because they echo from a time before time. They carry warnings so profound, so heavy, that they seem to cut right through the centuries, bypassing the logic of our modern brains and hitting something primal in our gut. They talk about how things began, the deep, dark origins of our world. But even more terrifyingly, they talk about how things will end. Among the thousands of ancient texts scattered across history, one book stands alone. It is a text that was, for centuries, effectively censored from the Western world. It was cherished in secret, hidden in caves, and filled with visions of the final day of judgment so vivid, so hallucinogenic, that they have haunted scholars and mystics for millennia. This isn't the familiar story of Genesis. It is not the final prophecy of Revelation. This is the eyewitness account of the seventh man from Adam, a man who, according to the scriptures, did the impossible. He walked with God and was physically taken from the earth before he ever tasted death. This is the revelation of Enoch. Think about the implications of that for a second. Before the great flood ever rose to cleanse the world, long before the Apostle John sat on the island of Patmos to write the book of Revelation, one man was supposedly ripped from the terrestrial plane, hauled into the heavens, and shown the terrifying end of all things. He saw the mechanism of the universe. He saw the day of tribulation, a final reckoning for all of humanity. He witnessed the opening of the books and the ultimate fate awaiting every single soul. This is not just a story, it is the revelation of Enoch, and these are his visions of the final judgment for the righteous and the wicked. To really feel the weight of this prophecy, you have to understand the anomaly of the man himself. In the brief, cryptic verses of Genesis, we get a lineage. We read about men who lived for centuries, begat sons and daughters, and then died. But when the text gets to Enoch, the rhythm breaks. 24 drops a bomb. Enoch walked faithfully with God. Then he was no more, because God took him away. He didn't die, he didn't decompose. He was chosen. He was extracted. And according to the book that carries his name, he became a divine messenger, a scribe of righteousness tasked with the terrifying job of recording the fate of both heaven and earth. For nearly 2,000 years, the Book of Enoch was a ghost story in Europe. It wasn't lost in the traditional sense. It was effectively quarantined. While the West forgot it, the text was preserved, meticulously copied, and guarded by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, which holds it as sacred scripture to this day. When the Scottish explorer James Bruce finally tracked it down and brought copies back from Ethiopia in 1773, it sparked a firestorm. The theological world was shook. Here was a text that wasn't just ancient, it was radioactive. It was directly quoted in the New Testament. The book of Jude, in verses 14 and 15, doesn't just reference it, it cites Enoch as a prophet. Behold, the Lord comes with 10,000s of his holy ones, to execute judgment on all and to convict all the ungodly. That is a direct lift from the book of Enoch. This confirms that the earliest followers of Christ, the people who walked with Jesus, were reading this book. They treated it as genuine prophecy. So this isn't some forgotten relic or fan fiction. It's a critical, missing piece of the puzzle. It acts as a bridge, connecting the first whispers of judgment in the Old Testament to the thunderous declarations of the New. The book of Enoch kicks off with a chilling statement of intent. It says its words are a blessing for the elect and righteous, who will be living in the day of tribulation, when all the wicked and godless are to be removed. Enoch explicitly says his vision is not for this generation, but for a remote one which is for to come. He was speaking to the distant future. He was speaking to us. To truly grasp his vision of the final judgment, we first have to go back to the ancient cause of that judgment. A rebellion that didn't start on earth, but in the heavens. Long before the final fire, a shadow fell upon the world. The book of Enoch provides a terrifyingly detailed account of events that Genesis chapter 6 only hints at. It tells the story of the Watchers. These were angelic beings sent to earth to oversee and guide humanity. But from their high post, they looked down on the daughters of men, and something twisted in their nature. They were consumed by lust. According to the text, This wasn't a random act of passion. It was a conspiracy. 200 of these watchers, led by a high angel named Semjaza, descended onto the summit of Mount Hermon. There, they swore a blood oath, binding themselves to a pact to defy heaven's laws together. They descended into human civilization and took human wives, a profound violation of the cosmic species barrier. This unholy union gave birth to a monstrous offspring, the Nephilim. The Book of Enoch describes them as great giants, whose height was 300 ells. That puts them at roughly 450 feet tall, a figure so massive that scholars debate whether it's literal or symbolic of their overwhelming power. These weren't gentle giants. They were biological nightmares with an insatiable hunger. Enoch's account says they consumed all the acquisitions of men. They ate the crops. They ate the livestock. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against the humans themselves. They began to devour mankind. The text describes a rampage of total consumption, sinning against birds, beasts, reptiles, and fish, eventually turning on each other, devouring flesh and drinking blood. The world was thrown into a cannibalistic chaos, but the physical destruction was only half the problem. The fallen watchers initiated a transfer of forbidden technology. An angel named Azazel taught men how to forge swords, shields, and breastplates. He introduced the science of industrialized warfare. He taught women the art of cosmetics, the beautifying of the eyelids, not for beauty, but for seduction and vanity. Other watchers taught sorcery, incantations, astrology, and root cutting. They accelerated human civilization, but they steered it directly toward violence and occultism. The earth became a slaughterhouse. The cries of the oppressed rose to the heavens, a deafening scream for justice. Enoch writes that the archangels, Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel, looked down from the sanctuary of heaven. They saw the rivers of blood. They heard the souls of men crying, "Bring our cause before the Most High." This chaos triggered a divine response that would shatter the world. It demanded a two-part solution. First, a physical cleansing, the Great Flood, to wash away the Nephilim virus and the corrupted DNA of humanity. But a second, final judgment was also decreed for the architects of this rebellion. The Lord commanded the archangels to act. Azazel was to be bound hand and foot and cast into total darkness. The decree is terrifying. And on the day of the great judgment he shall be cast into the fire. The other watchers were to be bound for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth until their final judgment, when they too would be cast into an abyss of fire. The stage was set. The crime was cosmic treason. The sentence was eternal fire. But the full vision of how this final judgment would play out was reserved for the one man pure enough to see it firsthand: Enoch. As the scribe chosen to deliver this message, Enoch was granted a security clearance no mortal had ever possessed. He was lifted from the earth, swept up by winds and lightning, and taken on a journey through the cosmos. He ascended higher and higher, moving through the layers of the heavens, until he reached the ultimate destination: the throne room of God. His description of this place is one of the most psychedelic and powerful passages in all of apocalyptic literature. He writes, "I approached a wall which was built of white marble and surrounded by tongues of fire." Imagine that. A structure where the walls are stone, but they are wrapped in living flame. He passed through this fire into a second house, larger than the first, built entirely of flame. The floor was fire. The ceiling was fire. And there he saw it, a lofty throne. Its appearance was like crystal, and from underneath it flowed streams of flaming fire so hot he could not look at them. Seated on the throne was the great glory, the Ancient of Days. His clothing, Enoch says, shone more brightly than the sun and was whiter than any snow. The radiation of holiness was so intense that no angel could even look upon his face. This was the seat of all power, the singularity of judgment. From here, Enoch was shown the end of days, the great day of tribulation. This isn't just a court date, it is a cosmological collapse. Enoch prophesies a time when the Holy Great One will step out of his dwelling and onto the earth. His arrival will be so heavy that great fear and trembling shall seize them unto the ends of the earth. The very geology of the planet will fail. The high mountains shall be shaken, and the high hills shall be made low, and shall melt like wax before the flame. At the center of this cataclysm stands a figure that has puzzled scholars for centuries. Enoch refers to him as the elect one, the righteous one, and most significantly, the Son of Man. Enoch sees this being, whose face is full of graciousness like one of the holy angels, but he is not just an angel. An angel explains to Enoch that this Son of Man was named before the sun and the signs were created, before the stars of the heaven were made. He is pre-existent. He was there before the Big Bang, and his purpose is violent justice. This Son of Man, whom you have seen, shall raise up the kings and the mighty from their seats, and shall break the teeth of the sinners. The vision then shifts to the trial itself. Enoch sees the Ancient of Days on his throne, with the Son of Man beside him. The books of the living are cracked open. This is the moment of total transparency. Every action, every word, every secret thought ever thought by a human being has been recorded in high fidelity. The time for accountability has arrived. This is a universal judgment. It captures everyone, the fallen watchers, the demons, and the kings of the earth who thought their power made them immune. Enoch's vision is a stark reminder that life is a test, and divine justice is the only inescapable law of the universe. Having witnessed the power and the process, Enoch was then shown the ultimate outcome, the two distinct, eternal fates that await every soul. This is where the vision gets binary. There is no middle ground. Enoch's visions paint a picture of an absolute and irreversible separation. First, he is shown the horrifying fate of the wicked. This includes the ungodly among mankind and the fallen watchers who started the infection. For them, mercy is a concept that no longer exists. Enoch describes their end in terms of fire and shadow. They are to be led off to the abyss of fire, and to the torment and the prison in which they shall be confined forever. He sees the kings and the powerful who built their empires on the backs of the weak. In the presence of the Son of Man, their arrogance evaporates. They are delivered into the hands of the righteous, who cast them into a furnace. And they shall burn before the face of the holy, as straw in the fire. The imagery is relentless. Their destruction is absolute. There is no parole. Their names become an eternal execration, a curse used by the righteous. Enoch states plainly, "For all of you sinners there shall be no salvation." Their spirits are deleted from the book of life. The abyss they are cast into is a place of utter darkness, a containment facility guarded by angels of punishment. But then the camera pans, the vision shifts, and the contrast is breathtaking. For the righteous, the elect who endured the chaos, who remained faithful when the world was burning, a completely different destiny awaits. Their judgment isn't condemnation, it is glorification. Enoch declares that on that day, God will make peace with them. He will protect the elect, and mercy shall be upon them. While darkness and fire consume the wicked, for the righteous, light shall appear unto them. Their transformation is total. Enoch sees them clothed in garments of glory, garments of life that never degrade, never fade. They will live in the immediate presence of the Son of Man. The prophecy says the Lord of spirits will dwell over them, and with that Son of Man shall they eat and lie down and rise up forever and ever. This isn't just escaping punishment. It's an elevation to a new species of existence. The old heaven and earth, tainted by the watchers and human sin, pass away. A new, pure reality appears. The righteous enter a realm free from sin, free from suffering, where their joy is a permanent state. This powerful dichotomy is the engine of Enoch's message. The final judgment is a great sorting. It is a permanent separation based on the paths chosen in the dust of the earth. Enoch's visions do not stand in isolation. They are part of a much larger prophetic tapestry, a thread of crimson revelation that runs from the dawn of time to the final pages of the New Testament. The echoes of Enoch's journey, the cosmic war, the divine judge, the division of humanity, resonate with startling clarity in the book of Revelation. Both books describe throne rooms surrounded by divine fire. Both speak of a final judgment where books are opened. Both depict a spiritual war that shapes human destiny. And both end with a vision of a new, purified creation where the righteous dwell with God. The Son of Man figure in Enoch is particularly haunting for Christian scholars. He is a pre-existent righteous judge who sits on God's throne. This is a clear parallel to the role Jesus Christ claims in the Gospels and that John gives to the Lamb in Revelation. While the Book of Enoch predates Christianity and doesn't identify this figure by the name Jesus, it provides the crucial cultural background. It shows us that the expectation of a divine Messiah, a cosmic judge, was already burning in the hearts of the faithful long before the manger in Bethlehem. Enoch's prophecy was given, in his own words, for a remote generation. That means us. His visions of the final reckoning were a warning flare sent up from the ancient world. They remind us that justice is a cosmic certainty. They remind us that what we do here, in the shadows, is seen in the light. And that leaves us with a profound question to chew on. In a world filled with its own chaos, its own watchers, its own corruption, what does it mean to be counted among the righteous? Enoch's visions aren't just an ancient story of giants and fire. They are a timeless call to accountability. They are a challenge to live a life worthy of the glorious destiny promised to the elect. We want to know what you think. Is the Book of Enoch a missing key to understanding the Bible? Or is it a symbolic myth? Why do you think it was excluded from the standard canon for so long? Let us know in the comments below. If you want to keep exploring the lost chapters of history with us, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. The truth is often stranger than fiction, and we are just getting started.